So I want to talk about how do you manage stress as an academic, and I want to get into some of that stuff. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massack. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out as much as I possibly can. So I'm not sure if you know this, but being an academic is pretty stressful because you have a lot of demands, and everybody that is pulling on you is being negative. It is just the nature of the beast, right? So, our main job is to do research, and whenever you get feedback on your research is absolutely negative. If you get good feedback, it, it might be somebody that's positive, but for the most part, it's almost always negative and mean. Um, and then you've got students that rarely give you positive feedback. You do get positive feedback, but you never pay attention to that stuff, right? And then you got administration that's telling you that you need to publish more, and how come you're not publishing more? What are you, some sort of fool? So, you've got all of these things, right, that are pushing on you, and you only have a certain amount of days, or a certain amount of hours every single day to actually do anything. Um, and a huge part of that has to do with that those people don't know you, and they don't know what you're about, right? Like, they have no clue. And so they think that they know what is right for you. And you really got to understand that nobody else understands who you are except for you. There's only a few people in the world that will get it. It might be your advisor, but even still, a lot of people are not, even a lot of academics, and that's the problem, right? Is that there is a lot of academics that are not nice either. I would say that the significant majority of academics are not nice, and I know that that's not great, but you learn how to completely distrust other people and you turn them off, right? So, how do you deal with all of this stress? Because you're trying to do more, do better. Obviously, you have to work long hours and put in the time and effort and all of that kind of stuff. That's just part of it. But, what you end up needing to do is to turn a lot of people off and say, screw you to the rest of the world. That is an important mechanism to manage this stress, where you just simply say, screw you. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm about. And, I'm frankly, I'm just better than you at the end of the day. And that is a mechanism. And you'll see people play that in different ways. Um, so that is one way to deal with it. And you just kind of shut off from the rest of the world. And actually, that shutting off is a mechanism that most people use to deal with stress, right? If somebody has been exposed to a lot of trauma, they will even make up their own worlds, right? Like, kids will make up their own worlds if they've been exposed to a lot of trauma in their home life, and you learn to do that, and you become okay with that, right? Like, you just shut off the rest of the world. So that is one way to manage it. But the other way that I end up managing it is getting a lot of exercise and having boundaries in my life, where I try to avoid bringing things into my boundaries into my life, right? Like, that's an important thing. So I do, I try to avoid working on weekends. I try to get exercise every day, rigorous exercise every day. All of the stuff that the doctor recommends, and you try to do that, right, to manage the life around you. And if you don't do that, so it's easy to not do that, but you quickly realize. So for me, if I don't do it for a few days, I start getting injuries. I start having, whether it's emotional injuries or physical injuries. So I have to keep that up just to maintain. So, I get into a healthy state where I just say screw you to the rest of the world, and I just do my exercise and I do my day to day. I just do my work, and that's it. And then I go home and I live my life. And the problem with academics is that they get their entire identity wrapped up into it. It's not like any other profession, but as soon as you do that, you really start having some problems in the long run. And you really need to just remove yourself from the situation, right? Like actually just say whatever. And it's an important thing to do this, to create these boundaries, these healthy boundaries, and to say screw you to the rest of the world, where you are better, and that's it, right? Like you are better and they just don't understand what you're about, and you just simply have to keep going with it. Now you'll see what this creates sometimes if people are managing this poorly. You'll see people uh, go into alcoholism. Some people go very deep into alcoholism. Some people, I suspect that they get into drugs and things like that because the profession is not fun, right? Like there is a lot of demands that are put onto you, and people expect you to do a heck of a lot with very little. And I'm not complaining. This is the thing. I'm not complaining. I am at a moment in my life where I've realized how to manage this. And I just simply shut off the outside world and I do my exercise and I do things where I spend time with my family. I go on vacations. Vacations are such a vitally important thing. And, doing all of those things, right? Vacations, taking time off on a regular basis every week, eating healthy, going for walks with the family. We rarely watch any TV anymore. We just don't have the time. Um, getting all sorts of exercise in every possible way possible. I swim. Um, all of those things, it's important to manage the stress and to manage what you're going to experience because the rest of the world does not care. And I want you to realize this, right? Like the students, the other faculty, in fact, other faculty are probably out to get you. They really are, because you are competition to them, right? Other students are out to get you. They see you as a threat. Administration are out to get you because you're never producing enough. But you stand up and you say, screw you. I'm good enough. And, the rest of the world, it will keep going, regardless of whether you're there or not. That's the thing that you quickly realize too. You're nothing really. And as you realize that you're nothing to the outside world, you begin to build the family and you build the relationships that you actually care about. And you do anything for them, right? And you push back at the outside world, and you push back against all of the stupidness that's out there. And I've learned how to do that repeatedly. Now, obviously, you should be nice, and civil and all of those kind of things in the working world, but then, realize that they mean nothing, right? Like they literally mean nothing. So you have to get into that boat where they mean nothing, and the few people in your life mean everything, right? Like the few people that actually matter in your life, they mean everything. And as you do that, as you get into that habit, now some of you might not have anybody right now to be with or to care about. Well, that's fine. You create your world for you, right? And you create that world where the rest of the world means nothing, like nothing, um, except for you that's there. And you create this really. unfortunately, it makes you narcissistic, right? Like this makes you narcissistic when you do this, but you have to be a fine line where you're controlling that narcissism, right? Where you're really, really sitting there thinking about, you know what, the rest of the world, screw you. And I still, as a person inside, I'm naturally empathetic. I'm naturally a really nice person. So I control it. I turn it on and off, right? I have that distaste in my mouth when I need it. And I try not to take it over, allow it to take over my life too much. So I think that is an important lesson for all of us to take away, no matter what career that you're in, is control who you're about and what you're about, and control, manage those emotions that you're going to experience, such that you can cut on and off the outside world, and really focus on who you are inside, so that you're healthy, happy, and you're living life the way that you want to be. That's why it's so important for, I repeat, you be you. Let the rest of the world conform to around you. And as you do this, as you begin to be yourself, as you build that inner strength that you push back against the world, and you be you, you'll realize that the world does conform around you, and the rest of the world can say, you can tell them to suck it. Honestly, like really, tell the rest of the world to suck it, and just live your life. And as you do that, you become okay, and you become a strong person. And it's important to do that. You don't have to be mean to be a strong person, but it's important for you to say, you know what, I'm not abiding by what everybody else wants me to do. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.